Welcome to Circle Back to Sunday here at Victory Hill. We are so excited that you're here to join us as we circle back and dive deep into the message from Sunday's sermon. You are going to get to meet some of our pastoral team on an intimate level, as well as other members here at Victory Hill as we circle back to Sunday's sermon. Welcome back to Circle Back to Sunday, where we're going to have a conversation about Sunday's sermon, and I'm joined today by Miss Bethany Graves and Pastor Trey Harper of Harper's
sound
Catfish.
effects.
I know, you're welcome.
In Scottsville, Kentucky. If you've not had it, you're missing out.
Thanks for the plug there.
You're welcome. We're in showbiz, bud.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Bethany and I make up the whole advertising
Yeah,
team.
yeah, I feel like we should get paid for it in free fish. I'm just saying.
Honestly,
Rusty, where you at?
You're welcome. You're welcome. But today we started a new sermon series, and Pastor Mason kicked it off literally with his
New kicks.
new kicks.
That's right.
Nice.
With them
Mustard
yellow,
Jordans.
With them yellow kicks.
Yep.
Can you call that yellow? Is mustard?
Mustard's a color,
Yeah, but I feel like it's its own. It's not really yellow.
but I mean, he pulled it off. He did pair it well with neutrals.
That's true.
He was smart.
Could
He
be
didn't
worse.
mix a lot of colors.
Yes, that's true.
Sure.
Good job, Mason.
together. Sure.
I assure you that if there's anything fashionable about Mason, we can attest that to Lauren.
Absolutely.
Okay,
Or
so
Miss
yeah.
Lisa.
Or Miss
Or Miss Lisa. Someone laid his clothes out
Yeah.
this morning.
Or said, don't wear that.
But he did pull off an amazing sermon.
Yes, absolutely.
Today, which was the purpose of your influence. And he did a great job, but I love that he had an opening point. So before I read the scripture for this week, his opening point was that we all have a circle of influence, and that the report from the Morning Consult says that 50% of Gen Zers believe becoming an influencer is a reputable career source, and they would I can't words.
All right, right to her.
They would quit their current jobs if they could become an influencer if it was enough to pay for their lifestyle. 3 in 10 young people would even pay to become an influencer.
Yeah.
So crazy to me.
That's an awful statistic.
So as somebody who works with kids,
Mm-hmm.
you know, back in the day, it was kids wanted to all right, what's your career goals? I'm
Right.
going to be in the NFL,
I'm
the
gonna be a
NBA.
teacher, yeah.
Yeah, you know, but
a ballerina,
now, a YouTuber?
YouTuber, or a gamer.
A gamer.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah, that's so weird. I never thought about that.
But hey, people make money doing it.
I mean, absolutely.
They do,
But your chances are kind of slim.
but some of the influencers out there are not given factual information.
Yeah.
You know, listen, I don't need you to tell me how to work out because I'm not going to do it anyway.
Yeah. Yep.
Sorry, I'm not going to follow you.
not gonna work out. I'm probably gonna work out, but yeah, I don't know. I'm
Yeah,
not. I'm
me
not
too,
here for
you
that.
know,
yeah, I'm working
climbed-
out to my fork to my mouth.
climbed
Is
those
what I'm
steps.
about to do.
I climbed those steps this
I
morning.
did, in fact, not climb
You
those
did
steps.
not. Her husband actually packed her up the steps.
Wait, are we gonna just ignore the fact that I just got fat shamed on this podcast?
I did not. I didn't even realize.
Are
I
we-
said for me, Trey Harper.
Sure. Yeah, but you looked at me and
Fired.
judged.
I'm not even looking at you for the rest of the time. I said me.
And she's like,
Just for anyone that doesn't know, Trey and I are actually friends. We were
Oh,
at
yeah.
one point in
we
time.
were.
Yeah,
It's,
friends.
it's, in,
Right then.
it's in review. She just influenced herself out of a
Stupid.
friendship.
So dumb. I meant myself. Shoot.
Oh, Mason might edit that
Oh,
out.
jeez.
So can we talk about though back to that point?
Yes.
When he talked about that influence in that circle, that he said it's the capacity to affect character, development, and behavior.
Love
Behavior.
that.
I thought that was great.
Yep.
Yep.
You know, just and I underlined as I was taking notes the word capacity. You know,
That's a big word in that. Yeah.
yeah, because you can have the desire to impact those things.
Yeah.
Right.
You can even have the knowledge to impact those things, but without capacity, which is given by the person who is influenced.
Yeah.
Then none of that happens.
Absolutely.
So I thought that was
That's real good.
Great point.
Well, and it
that is
can go backwards. Like, it doesn't have to be you having the capacity. Also, are you being influenced? Do you have the capacity? You know,
To
you
be
know, Yeah,
influenced.
the
Yeah.
circle around you. You're
Yep.
either influencing them or they're influencing you.
Yeah.
So his
Good. That's
scripture
real
was
good.
perfect for this today, which was Matthew 5:13-16, that says, "You are the salt of the earth. But if the salt should lose its taste, how can it be made salty? It is no longer good for anything but to be thrown out and trampled under people's feet. You are the light of the world. A city situated on a hill cannot be hidden. no one lights a lamp and puts it under a basket, but rather on a lampstand, and it gives light to all who are in the house. In the same way, let your light shine before others, so that they may see your good works and give glory to your Father in heaven.
That's good.
And I mean, that was just like a perfect scripture. And what's so crazy, it's part of the Sermon on the Mount.
Yeah.
And I've never focused on that part, because that's when he really gets into a lot of very serious things. He's given the Sermon on the Mount. But the way Mason broke this down was great. It was great. He started off with his first point is, our influence preserves a culture in decay.
Yeah.
I was, when he was going through like what salt is, was kind of mind blowing. But what I wrote down was salt is you season where you're in. A wisdom that is not of this world makes you thirsty for Jesus and preserves what you already have, the meat God has planted. Like I think that is just, I guess I didn't ever take the time to realize that salt does so many different things other than taste good.
Yeah.
Make things better. Yeah. You make things better when you put salt in it for the most part. And, that's always nice.
We're Southern. We season our food.
Can
I
we
like some
agree
salt.
on something, though?
Sure. Maybe.
Salt on watermelon.
I like it.
I don't.
Oh,
What?
I do.
No.
Salt on an apple?
Oh,
I can
do it.
handle an apple better than watermelon.
Really? I do
Yeah.
like it.
I do like salt on my
That's
watermelon.
sweet and salty. I'm here for that.
Yeah.
Makes it better.
I do love
Makes
it.
it.
And I like
better.
to go back to the whole salt enhances the taste when he was talking about wisdom, how that's outside of normalcy.
Yeah.
I thought that was huge. That that there's normal. I guess even if you're talking about food,
Yeah.
there's bland,
Right.
Yep.
All right, there's original preparation,
Yeah.
But that salt enhances
It does.
outside of what it normally would
Yep.
be on its own.
Yeah, and even I would say there's other seasonings you can enhance food with that still don't make it taste as good as if it's
As
still
salt.
missing salt.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
People,
Like
people that don't salt food, it doesn't matter what you put on it.
no, but it could be you could have all of the condiments in the world for this piece of meat, but it's still going to be bland because there's no salt in it. So even if you take that in the aspect of what he's talking about influence, there can be all these other seasonings that are put in there,
Yeah.
but you're still lacking that one important.
Yep.
That's good. I like that.
Yeah, and he said that it's about preserving like the morals. It's about preserving a culture that we have. But he also talked about how precious it was because salt was actually like a form of currency, at one point in history because you had to have money to have salt for your food.
Sure.
You had to be in a place of power to have salt, but it's precious, it's valuable. So if Jesus is telling us we're the salt of the earth, he finds value in us. It's not just us to be that and represent him. It's both ways. He sees it both ways, which I thought that's just something that hit me. I was just like, okay, well, so I'm precious. I'm valuable.
Every time he was talking about how salt makes you thirsty, the only thing I could think about was country ham. that was my only thought.
Bethany's really
I'm
hungry.
also hungry, but
Yeah.
country ham is so good.
Well,
but
when
it makes
he
you
also
so thirsty.
in second service, he was like, for all you older people that don't know what salty and thirsty are, to
I
this
know. I
generation,
was like, stop
I was like,
talking.
just stop.
Stop talking.
So you guys
It's
can
enough.
look that up on your
It's
own
enough.
with Urban Dictionary. We are not
Totally
going to go
enough.
there.
Here's what I would say: if people are watching a podcast, they already know.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
true. That's probably true.
They get it.
Our fan base is like, we are.
Yeah.
Sorry.
They were probably with Mason out there like us with Mason, like, just stop right there, buddy.
Yep, that's and
I did love that preservation piece.
I do
though.
too. I do too.
I mean, just the importance of I don't know. Maybe none of your grannies ever said this, but they'll say, "Well, that keep."
Yeah.
Oh,
and-
yeah.
and so as I think about that in our lives, we have the ability for each other, okay, to help the other one keep.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Like a relationship with Christ is the ultimate keeper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
But we as believers and a community of believers, our influence can help others keep at a time when maybe things could spoil quickly.
Oh,
in their
absolutely.
lives.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I just
Preach a little more, Trey.
no, I thought just that idea of
No.
of keeping
Yep.
and
Yep.
preserving was huge.
Yep, that's so good.
And that is good because, I mean, he really didn't even touch on that. So that's like that's an added bonus.
Yeah. But again, like that country ham scenario, like it's salty. I'm still hungry. It's salty, but that's how you preserve those. That's how they are made. They are
Yeah.
like heavily salted on the outside.
Salt cured.
And put up to, just to ripen almost or whatever the word is for meat. I don't know. But that's what brings out
it's
that flavor.
cured.
That's it. Until it cures. That's it. Until it cures. But that salt penetrates that but it also keeps it from like the flies getting it and it going bad and decaying and stuff. And it's like you literally wrap the meat in salt. And I think that's cool because it's what God puts in your heart. Like it's what God has given you. It's your abilities, your design, like the things that you're good at, the things that God is really depositing. That salt is preserving those because the flies can come, the heat can come, those types of things and ruin what meat God has implanted in you. But the salt keeps it good. Well, I'm really hungry.
She is really hungry. We're going to get her some food soon.
Hey, Ken Tacos, though.
Do they have country ham? I don't know.
Yeah.
Probably not. It's a taco truck today.
True.
So his second point was...
Wait a minute.
What?
A country ham taco.
I'm here for it. Put some eggs in that.
Absolutely.
Egg?
Some gravy.
Oh,
A little slice of tomato.
I'm here for that. I think we just
we
created
might
something.
have.
Let's just have that at Trey's house. All
Okay,
right, cool.
I got it.
We're down.
Yeah.
We're down.
I'd eat it.
Mason's second point was that our influence should be a reflection. So he made a very great presentation with this where he talked about the scripture we were in, which says, you are the light of the world. But then in John 8:12, Jesus spoke again and he said, I am the light of the world. Anyone who follows me will never walk in darkness, but will have the light of life. And Mason's like, some people would be like, okay, well, Jesus said one thing and contradicted himself with another. And Mason's like, no, that's a paradox.
I know. I didn't even know what that word meant.
What's it mean?
I ain't gonna lie. That means when two seemingly contradicting things actually mean the right thing.
At the same time.
At the same time. Yeah. I was like, y'all are looking at me like that ain't right.
You gotta be careful. Sometimes when people use a word like paradox, I'm like, oh, okay, what you're saying must be true because I don't know what that word means.
Right,
But
exactly.
luckily, I knew what paradox
Yeah.
meant. So
I did not. I thought it was, I mean, that was kind of mind blowing to me because I would have never, I mean, you've read both scriptures, but I never thought Jesus was contradicting himself. I just kind of thought maybe he was meaning Jesus in us, which he is, but at the same time, like, I just thought it was the same. I never put two and two together until today. I was kind of mind blown.
He made a great point about it, though.
yeah, didn't you like though his illustration of the fact that we, much like the moon, reflect the light of the sun in darkness.
Yes.
I thought, and you can use SON. You know, there was really a way. There was really a
Trey's
Jesus
on his
juke
game
there.
today.
Clap on that.
right. But
Jesus, won't he do it?
But like, I even drew a picture. You know,
Oh, of a son?
no, I just wrote the words and some arrows. but how true is that?
Yes.
That the light in us is His light shining through us. You know,
Absolutely.
it's not self-generated. We
Right.
don't have the ability
No.
to light ourselves.
Right.
But it truly is, and it goes back to his point of using reflection.
I mean, and you think about it as parents, because we're all parents sitting here. Like, really, the way your kids act in public, for the most part, we all have some crazies, but the way your kids act in public is a reflection of what they get at home, what they see, what they do, what they hear. And therefore, like, it's the exact same. I mean, God is our heavenly Father. That should be what we reflect. But sometimes when we let those people in that speak, negatively or are just rude people. I mean, I don't really hang out with rude people except when they're trying to roast me on a podcast. But those types of those scenarios don't work well for me so I try not to stay in those types of things. But I can definitely see when I'm in a group of people that are having a rough time in their marriage that all of a sudden I'm nitpicking mine when it's going good. Or when I'm in a room with people that are just shaming themselves for how they feel about the way they look or talk, or I start doing that same thing instead of being me that Jesus already made. You know what I mean? I want to be the influence that they reflect instead of vice versa.
Right.
And I can definitely tell in my circle of friends that happens. Like when you're down in the dumps or you're like having a woe is me moment, like my friends are going to be like, pat you on the back. You're good. Like, okay, here's your moment. Also get up. Let's go. Like we're done.
Come on.
You don't get to stay here. Sure. But it's because they want to pull you up. Yeah. And I would say that, like, just in my circle, I would say that I'm thankful to be a reflection of it, honestly.
Yeah. And I think surrounding yourself with people that reflect the same things is important.
Well, that makes it easy for sure. Yeah.
Well, that scripture says that you're the light of the world. A city situated on a hill cannot be hidden. And I looked up that word situated, like what it meant, just because it kind of stood out to me. And it's specifically appointed.
Ooh.
And so, like in our lives, in our circles,
Yes.
you know,
Yeah.
with those people.
Yep.
Specifically
appointed.
Right. We are specifically appointed to
good.
fulfill that purpose.
That's good.
To light that way.
Yeah.
And we truly, at times, that can be overwhelming.
Yeah.
Yes.
But really what I feel like what Jesus is teaching us here is to embrace that role.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You know, that you were here for a reason. It's on purpose for a purpose. You know, like, so embrace the fact that I have specifically situated you in a place
That's good.
to do what I've called you to do.
That's real good.
Yeah,
and
I
it
like
doesn't mean that I have to be everything that Trey is, or Trey has to be
No.
everything that I am. But it does mean that, like, running in a circle with Trey means that he picks up where I left off.
Exactly.
Or I pick up where he left off. Like, we get to fill in those blanks. And, that's real good.
So
See,
maybe
I'm
you're in an
appointed.
eclipse moment
Jesus.
where it's a little dark, and Trey's going
Dark
to be
in the
light
darkness.
from the moon.
Is it dark in the darkness? It's dark
dark.
in the darkness.
It's just dark.
Kind of dark.
Darkity dark.
His third point was we cannot allow our influence to become ineffective. And I love where he brought up the verse again, but should the salt lose its taste, how can it be made salty? And Mason said, you can't re-salt the salt.
That's true.
Yeah.
And for me, I was thinking like, you can't do that, but you can dilute it
Yeah.
by what you're following, what you're
Yeah.
doing, what you're saying, who you're surrounding yourself with. You can dilute salt all day long.
Sure.
You know, you put too much salt in your pasta, you got to put some more water and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, what are you diluting the salt in yourself with?
Well, and then he followed it up with, a tree by its fruit.
Yeah. I
Like
wrote
it-
that down.
I did too. Like the influence, like you do know the tree by its fruit. That's real good.
That
And
word,
scary.
he said like in prefacing that point, he said that we should be identified by name
Yep.
and action.
Yes.
You know, so
Yes.
it's one thing to say, all right, I am the light, I am the
Right.
salt, I
Yep.
am a Christian.
Yep.
It's completely different to say those things and to live those things.
Yes, absolutely.
And it's not always easy.
Yeah.
And that's the thing I think that people get lost in is they think that this is an easy road to take. It's not an easy
Yeah,
road
and
to
I
take.
feel like that this point comes up almost every time I'm on this podcast, so I'm sorry, y'all. But it really does just, like, make me want to, like, charge hell with a squirt gun. Because it's not about, like, being the most doctrinally sound person in the room.
Right.
It's not about having all this theology. It's not even about, like, because I'm real bad about memorizing scriptures. I can tell you kind of around where it's at, but not like the
Yeah, I
actual,
cannot.
it's not even about that. Like, even when he said it, your influence is about showing what God has done in your life. That should always be enough. Like, if I am truthful about how good God is to me and what he's done in my life, then A, it's easy to share that. And B, that should influence people to be like, he can do that in mine. You know, like I just can't stress that enough that, like, if you feel like your influence has to be that you have to know every word in this Bible, I definitely think you should be in the Bible. But I'm just saying, like, you don't have to know it word for word or preach from the stage or be one of the teaching pastors. Like, that's not even it. It is just about telling how good God is and what he's done in your life.
And like he said, don't be scared to share your testimony.
Yeah.
And I wrote down out beside of it because there's power in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that may not be, like Bethany said, you may not be on stage like Trey and everyone else, but to just tell one person, it's like a ripple effect. It's like putting a drop of water in a still body of water.
Yeah.
And it's going to ripple. And so that person may go and share what you told them with someone else, even as a side story, to be like, hey, my friend is going through this and you're going through something similar. And your testimony could affect people that you don't even know.
Yeah.
There's so much power in the capacity that you have to influence people. Like, I'm sorry, but in the term of influencer nowadays, I don't want to be that.
Yeah.
I don't want to be that. One, because I feel like it is not of Jesus.
Yeah.
Because it's so focused on who you are. And that's not who I want to be. I want to live my life for God, to honor God, not myself.
Yeah.
But there's a lot that comes with that. Like, people can't handle the pressure of being online every day and what other people demand of them. And then they get, bullying comes with that because you're throwing yourself out there. And you just have to be able to live your life the correct way with the correct goals instead of worried about what you want. Because if you're following God, God's going to fight those battles for you. God's going to be there and he's going to stand in.
Yeah, it's holding a weight that we weren't created to bear.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Right?
Absolutely.
And that's what happens. And in our lives, we have to be careful. I love that his point says that we can't allow our influence to become ineffective.
Yep.
There is an allowance.
Absolutely.
that has to take place there.
Yep.
And sometimes a very minor, maybe what seems insignificant decision can cause that. But I think the important part is, it's become ineffective. So it happens over time is that we're mindful with our circle. We're mindful in our time with God. Hey, that's probably something I shouldn't have done. Let's get that taken care of.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I'm not going to allow that
to
happen,
to impact,
Yep.
to negate, to unsalt
Absolutely.
the salt in my life.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and he said, don't come to church and be one thing, and then you leave and you're somebody totally different.
He said, nobody listens to you if you preach heaven and act like hell.
That's it.
I love that.
Yeah.
That was good. I did love that part.
Yep.
And it says good works are an outward expression of how God is changing your life.
Right.
Like that's legit too, because you can be influenced all day long to have a better marriage or to have, more things or better wardrobe or whatever it may be that the people around you surround yourself with. But I mean, ultimately, it's whatever's happening on the inside is what comes out on the outside, and that's just true. Good, bad, or ugly. Like, I hope that because you always like, good works get you to heaven or whatever. Like in the old days, I say old days, like when I was little. But the good works, and I do think that but having good works, doing good works is just a result of how Jesus is on the inside of you. Like you want to, at that point in time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's easier.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, he said that good works are who we are, not what we do.
Yes. And that's leverage. Like that's what he was talking about when leveraging who God is. Like that is leverage. Like I know in the business world, like there are definitely different things that you can do for your business. That was what we would call leverage. Like it's what you would call, I'm not doing this, someone else is doing this for me, and therefore I have more time to do these two things. Like it's leverage. Leverage who God is. Like he's already putting it out there. Like this is who I am. This is what I do. This is how I can change your life. Like leverage that. You don't have to be good enough yourself. You don't have to do it all on your own. Like you've got the perfect leverage.
Well, we're not perfect. We're not going to get it right every time,
I'm pretty close, but I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
You want to step in on that one?
Did y'all feel the eye roll? Because
I'm leaving that alone.
We're gonna table that.
I'm just kidding.
We're gonna table that. His last point was leveraging, which is kind of a segue to what she was saying. Leveraging your influence will help people see God for who He is.
Yep.
And that should be the ultimate goal.
Yep.
But like you said, when you're aware of your influence and you're aware and you're willingly living your life that way, it is easy.
Yeah.
It's easy to love people that are hard to love,
Yeah, I like he said that when times are darkest, where do people go?
Yeah.
It's to the folks carrying the light.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right? And that, that what we have the ability to do in that time is to say that our works, who we are the effect of the cause of His redemption.
Absolutely.
Like what we're doing is just an effect.
Absolutely.
The cause is who He is.
Already done.
Right?
Yep.
And so to take the time to, as people come to us, and hopefully if we are salt and light, then people are going to come.
Yeah.
And when we do that, it's just so easy to just immediately point them to Christ.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely.
And that can be as gentle as, hey, let me pray with you.
Yeah.
Or, you want to come to church or anything like that. Like you don't have to pressure them to do anything. You can do it very gently. It's not got to be like a, you need Jesus kind of moment. I mean, I do want to scream that at some people.
I mean, or tattoo it on their forehead. It's fine. Some people need a little extra.
Would you do it backwards so that when they looked
the
in the
reflection,
mirror,
that's
it would reflect?
No regrets. No regrets.
Not even one letter. Gotcha.
He said, I
love it.
There's places where you can leverage your influence. And obviously one of them is at home.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah. Oh, man, I love that.
That was tough, right?
That was real tough. Because, I mean, like I said earlier, like when you get out in public and your kids start acting crazy, like sometimes it is a direct result. Sometimes they're just wild and crazy. But, I mean, or like how you I don't know, how you talk to your husband. It's definitely going to come out, when you're in a group or whatever. I mean, I always like think through the whole aspect of what I live like in public as a result of what I do and live like in private.
Yeah.
And that's just, it's going to overflow your heart. So I loved that part, the home. And I mean, big shout out to Mason too, for making sure he talked about the husbands and the dads, because absolutely that is where the leadership comes from.
Well, and we live in a society. That's the word I was looking for. Sorry, apologize for that. But we live in a society that tries to contradict that biblical principle.
Yes.
Right? We portray a man as ignorant and lazy, and disconnected from the family, when that's not the plan of God at all. I love that Mason said, I can't shepherd this church if I'm not shepherding my home.
Yes, I got chills just right now.
Right? I mean, that was so good.
It is so good.
And it's like, that's a daunting task.
It is.
Right?
It's a big deal.
It is.
Absolutely.
But we have to understand, I think that's a partnership commitment that the wife has to say, okay, I'm going to let you do this, but I'm going to support you while you do it.
Absolutely. Yep.
Completely.
It's definitely partnership. Yeah. That's a huge thing.
I did love it.
He also said that work and school, which is the same for you every day.
It's true. That is true.
Is where you can leverage your influence. And, I find that's very true because I work in the insurance and investment world. And I find a lot of people are not believers, but I work for a company that our owner is, and I work with some teams that's a huge priority in their life, and being able to leverage that has made my work life so much easier. I work with these people so much easier than I can with people who, and not being mean, who are non-believers, but it's helped me to balance that. Like, I'm able to still maintain healthy relationships with them from a place of love.
Honestly, it's one of those things where, I mean, I'm like Trey, I don't work at a school, but I do work with the public too a lot. And it's one of those things where it's a heavy weight to bear. Like, you do have to be not this person, you have to be you. And therefore, like, what you see at church or what you see on stage or what you hear has to be genuine, or else you're just going to mess it all up. You know what I mean? Like, you can only act for so long. Yeah, I'm definitely
This is just us all the time.
Like, one of mine is, like, we talked about influencers or whatever in social media age, but we sell real estate, and so we have a real estate Facebook page and stuff, and a lot of my Sundays I don't post anything real estate related. It is only a scripture or an encouragement of some sort. And some people I've gotten pushback, like, what if someone doesn't believe? I'm like, I'm not forcing you to, but I'm telling you what I do. And therefore, if I'm now going to meet these people and I'm being rude or I'm being like, now I'm put on blast, because it's like, I gotta walk what I talk, you know what I mean? And so I just loved that. Like, that's a big deal. That is a big deal.
Mason said that we might be the only Jesus
they see.
that they see.
Absolutely.
Right? And so making sure that that it's a character thing.
Integrity, absolutely.
That it's deeper than just a post or a T-shirt or even a tattoo. It's deeper than that.
It is.
I agree,
and it all goes back to the golden rule: treat people how you want to be treated. And I get pushback a lot where, in our life, our kids have seen both sides of the coin, and they're like, why are you so nice? Well, because I want people to be nice to me. Why would I not be nice to them? That's what literally we were commanded to be that way by Jesus, and he loves me a lot more than I deserve.
Yeah.
Right. Well, one of my things for our kids, when they say, well, this person acted, that's not the standard by which we live.
Right. Absolutely.
We are not going to do that.
That's a hard lesson to teach.
Absolutely.
But once you understand that, it really is something that you can live your life by.
Oh, yeah.
That, they may be doing that, but that's not our standard.
That's right. Us.
And so to just embrace that, I think is important.
And I think teaching that to them when they're younger, old enough to understand it, it sets them up better for life.
Sure.
It prepares them that you're gonna encounter situations like this a lot, but here's how you handle it.
Well, and then he says that, leverage your influence with the church. Like, you can do that at the church, creating an environment for people to meet Jesus. Like,
absolutely.
That's also a big way. That's a task. That's something to, like, I don't know. It's a mission. It's cool. It's good. It's I don't know. It's why we do what we do. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And I think it was so important, when he talked about, like, everybody having a spot and a place and the ability to serve in some capacity. You know, I think about my dad who like would never be on the stage.
Yeah.
Like it is not happening.
Yeah.
But is so happy to like greet somebody, to take them to their seat. Can I get a mop and take care of a baptism, you know, spill, you know, like just anything. He's so happy to do that. But it's just embracing that spot and understanding that those spots are so important.
So important. Absolutely. Right? Yeah, I definitely agree. And that's what it is. Like God has given you those gifts, those abilities, those talents, and that's how you steward them and use your influence.
Yeah, and I mean, for a good example is the Dream Center that we have. You know, we just celebrated.
Don't get me talking about that.
That 2-year anniversary.
This room.
And
so
you know,
good.
That you all did amazing.
It was so
on
it
the
was
square.
So good.
If you aren't from here,
so
we have what we call First Fridays here in Scottsville, and our worship team got to, you know, be on the stage, and it went a lot longer than what was scheduled.
Great.
But I mean, we were celebrating the Dream Center, but to see the community come out and just worship, and to know that that was all because people took steps to serve.
That's right.
Well, and you think that
to be an influence,
but people think it just has to be inside the church building,
and doesn't.
That's not it either.
No.
Big C Church, like think about outside of this building, these 4 walls, like that's what the Dream Center's do. I'm covered in chills. I could talk about it all day. It's what the Dream Center's
it's amazing, and it's just an extension of church, like you said, the Big C Church.
It's just Jesus working,
Well,
like just letting him work.
It's somebody, bodies. Think about Amy. Think about Darren. You know? But I even think about like Danny.
Yes.
You know.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Who is like here now? Like he said yes. He's taking steps. He's serving as an usher. It's people saying yes.
But you can see how much God has radically changed his life
what a dude.
from long way away. Like I yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, a simple yes could turn into something amazing. So, you know, if you're one of our attendees and you've been kind of looking for ways to get involved, reach out, because there's a ton of things. You, like he said, his dad doesn't want to be on stage. He doesn't want to talk in a microphone, and that's not for everybody. But trust me, there's a lot of places that you can serve.
And the coolest part about that, and I will hush in just a second, but I could just talk about the Dream Center all day. But Amy will even tell you, like, her knowing and being radically changed by Jesus came from the influence of the people she was around. It came from the influence
she will
of her
absolutely
circle.
tell you that. Yeah.
Either telling her to get up out of your mess or helping her and holding her hand through it. But it came from the influence of her circle. And now look at how many circles she's influencing.
Over 5,000.
Over 5,000.
So
that's so cool.
Like I said, a little drop ripples
Covered
a
in
long
chills.
way.
Covered in chills.
We are so thankful that everyone tunes in every week to circle back while we have a conversation about the sermon. And I think that the beautiful thing is that we each brought something that the other person didn't even notice.
Yeah.
Which is amazing because it just enhances Mason's point.
Yeah.
So we hope that you guys continue to tune in for the rest of this series. And if you need prayer or anything like that, the Digital Connect card, I say it every time, is live. So find it on Facebook, Instagram, or just go to victoryhill.us and it's there as well. But we're so thankful for everybody, and we will see you guys back next week.